Hello and welcome to Creative Sparkle. My name's Holly and today we're doing an art journal prompt list. So grab your art supplies and let's get crafting. Hi, thank you for joining me today. So the first prompt that we have is to prep the page with white gesso using a card or sponge. So that's either a credit card or gift card or a dish sponge, whatever you have, just as long as it's not a brush that we're using. So I've decided to use an old credit card, and then once that's dry we'll move on to prompt number 2, which is emboss clear patterns over the background. So you can use clear texture paste glue, clear embossing paste, whatever you have. I'm going to be using some gel medium and putting it through a stencil that I found. So I found this stencil with stars on it, and I'm going to be using clear embossing powder and put that over the glue that I've stenciled through, and then I will pour the rest of it off and put the rest of it back into the jar and heat it up so that it sets. So I'm going to be doing this over several places over the page so that we've got an interesting background to work with. So once we finish with the embossing powder, we'll move on to prompt number 3, which is cover the background with 2 or more gelatos. Now the gelatos that I've chosen, I've gone with 4 of them. So I've gone with the purple, the blue and 2 greens that you can see here. And I actually do mix some pink with the purple later as well, just to lighten it up a bit. So to start off with, I'm just going to go in with the dark blue and just scribble it over some patches over the page, and I'll smear them in with my finger just to blend them onto the page, and then I'll do the same thing with each of the colours to cover the full page. And then once that's done, I'll just go over with the baby wipe and just wipe over those embossed areas just so that we can see the embossed areas through the gelatos. Are finished blending in and dried, we'll move on to prompt number 4, which is spray over the page with a dark colour and mop up the excess with kitchen roll. So the spray I've decided to use is a black distress ink spray, and I'm just spraying it over the page, and then I'm going to rub it in and remove the excess so that it covers completely the page, but we can still see those stars coming through and the other colours coming through as well. So once all of the excess is removed, I then decided to take some water and spray it over the page to remove those little bits of water as well, just so that we've got some kind of interesting patterns to work with over the background as well. So once all that's dried, we'll move on to prompt number 5, which is colour code some washi tape and stick down in fragments. So I've chosen these 3 washi tapes, and I'm just going to tear them all into pieces and stick them over the background. Any washi tape that you have, or any kind of tape that you have that you think will go with your background, you can use that. You can tear it, you can cut it, whichever one that you think goes with your page the best, or if you want to make a certain type of pattern, absolutely fine, whichever way you want to do it, I'm sure it will look great. So once that's finished, we'll move then on to prompt number 6, which is to take 2 of the same image and stick them as your focal image. So I have these gorgeous girl napkins, and they each have 4 of the same image on, so I'm going to take 2 of those, and I'm going to use gel medium to stick them down on card so that we can see the image rather than putting it directly onto the page, because you won't be able to see the full image completely with the background. So the white card there will bring the image out. So once I've got those stuck down with gel medium, I will cut them out around the scalloped edge and then stick them down as my focal image. just be careful when you're sticking them down, because we do put a layer of the gel medium over the top like so, but it does tear easily if you're not careful, or if you're not using a soft enough brush. Just be careful it doesn't start rolling up and tearing. So as I said before, I'm just cutting them out around the scalloped edge, and then I'll get them stuck down on the page. So once those images are stuck down onto the page, we'll move on to prompt number 7, which is doodle or Zentangle over both the images differently. So it can be the same doodle but in a different colour. So I've decided to do some leaf doodles on one of the images, and then I'll do some flower doodles on the second image, and I'm going to use a green gel pen for the one on the left and a pink gel pen for the one on the right. Any kind of Zentangle or doodle that you want to do over the page, just to separate the two images and make them look slightly different, absolutely great. So moving on to the next prompt is number 8, which is add shadows and highlights to your focal images. So the one on the right, I'm using a white gel pen just to add some highlights over the image, and the one on the left here, as you can see, I'm using a gold gel pen to add the highlights. And I also go around with a black gel pen just to add those shadows in and between the hair and outline the images as well. Once I've finished with the highlights, I actually decided to go back with the pink and green gel pens just to add some more doodles on there, just to make them stand out a little bit more. So I'm going around the scalloped edge and adding those details in there with the opposite colours to the background used. So moving on to prompt number 9 is choose a word to title each of your focal images. So I've chosen 2 words that go together but also can be individual image titles. So for the first one, I've gone with my scan and cut and cut onto acetate with the scan and cut, and I've chosen the words shine and bright. So I'm just using gel medium to go through the stencil, and then I'm going to add glitter over the titles. And then once the glitter is dried, I'm going to use a white pen to go around the outside just to make it stand out a bit more, and then a black pen to go around that, and then we'll have titles that really stand out against the page. So once we've finished adding the gel pen, we'll move on to the 10th and final prompt, which is use lid or cap to add paint prints across the spread. So I found this old paint lid, and I'm going to be using this silver paste to add the prints. So I'm just going to put some down and dip the lid in and just add prints across the page. Any lid that you find is absolutely fine. It doesn't have to be something as small as I've used. It could be something bigger, something a different shape. Whatever you find to use is absolutely fine. So now that that's all finished, I will show you some pictures at the end. Thank you very much for joining me today. Don't forget, the full prompt list will be at the end of the video, so if you want to take a screenshot and follow the prompts, you can do that. If you do decide to follow the prompts, please tag me on Instagram with #sparkleprompts. If you did like this video, please press the thumbs up and subscribe, and join me next time where we will turn your creative spark into a creative sparkle. Bye!